What's going on out there? It's Thursday, June 30th. I'm Frank Curzio. It's the Wall Street Unplugged podcast where I break down headlines and tell you what's really moving these markets. It's Thursday, which means it's interview day. And I'm going to get lots of questions about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. If you want to know how to buy them, where the best places or the platforms to buy them on, how to connect your wallet, how to know that you're not getting scammed. I mean, tons of questions have been coming in over the past week. Not even just past week, past few weeks. So I'm bringing in an expert who's been trading NFTs for a long time and now launched his own platform. And his name is Pete Parente. Also goes by the name as Captain Awesome. It's not a joke. Captain Awesome is really cool. So Pete's an awesome guy. He is not some young pup that hasn't been around. He's going to tell you how to buy these things and is brand new to the industry, because I talk to some of these younger generation kids and you know, it's a hard conversation because, you know, I love the arrogance. You're supposed to be arrogant when you're young, but you haven't got the shit kicked out of you yet. And you need that sometimes when you're giving other people's advice. And Pete is actually 49 years old. I'm sharing that because he did share that his age during the interview. Former business consultant, 15 years, served as a Marine in special ops. He's going to talk about that a little bit. He's really cool. Former investment banker. And now started his own company called Greed, and started a few years ago, where he's investing in crypto projects, right? Metaverse projects, and specializes in NFTs, which is collecting, investing, creating them, including within the music industry, where award-winning Grammy artists have partnered with him to create NFTs, royalty streams, things like that. It's fascinating once you hear it. It's a great interview if anyone wants to learn more about this incredible marketplace, which is much more than art. It's access. It's proof of ownership in the digital world of any service you want to provide or any product you want to create. That ownership is why this is such a massive trend and why we are so big at Curzio Research, which includes Web3, Metaverse, NFTs, all of this DeFi being put together. And it's also why last month, think about this for a minute, last month, billions have flowed into Web3 projects, including NFTs and the Metaverse. Billions of dollars in May. You guys know the market conditions. You know how crazy it is. This is where the big money, institutional money is going. It's getting funded. That's how big this trend is. If you want to get in early in trends, follow the big money being invested here. And that's your opportunity right now. That's how you know. Everyone can say this market is 30 trillion, 10 trillion, 13 trillion, depending on who you want to listen to. Gartner, McKinsey, you have Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, all coming out with crazy forecasts, which again, are just forecasts and could be BS. Again, anyone can say whatever they want nowadays. When you see billions and the money pouring in, especially in this market, that's when you have to pay attention. And it's really cool. So one quick note before we get to the interview, if possible, go to our Curzio Research YouTube page. It's not a plug, but it's going to be easy to follow along because I'm going to bring up sites like OpenSeas, and Pete's going to break it down as I have it up on our screen. He's going to show you exactly how to invest in these projects, what everything means, the floor price, how much you have to pay, how to connect your wallet. I mean, we're really going to dial it down to show you how to participate in this market, basically answering all the questions you was sending me about NFTs, again, over the past few weeks. So enough to build up, and let's get to my interview with Captain Awesome right now. Pete, thanks so much for coming on Wall Street Unplugged.
Thanks for having me, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, so I did a nice build-up of you, so which is really cool. So, but I want to introduce you as someone who has, I mean, you've been in the Marine Special Ops, you're a business consultant for 15 years, former investment banker. What made you get into crypto? It seems like a big jump from these areas to go all in on crypto.
It wasn't something I was expecting to do. It was just that after all my years of business, and I've never actually been driven by the money. I was always driven by the projects, but when I was driven by the project and the challenges, by putting my hard work in, it did kind of turn to money. But after all the years of working as a business consultant, it just started getting old after a while. I was dealing with the lawyers, business and everything else, and I wasn't motivated by money anymore. So I gave that up. If you go back to June 2020, COVID hit and everything, and I was just sick of everything going on. And I did miss what I was doing for years in special ops. So I got rid of all my businesses, and now my son he turned 15, and he understood my background and, what my passion is. And I really enjoyed, being with my special ops guys. So I signed a private military contract June 2020 for an emergency response team in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am at the time. So what am I now? 48. I'm 46 years old, getting back into special ops. And it was because one of my buddies who's, a lot of my friends that were stayed in, and I've always kept myself in better shape than most people. He would joke and be like, "You're in better shape than I am, man. We can use you back out there." So I was like, you know what? He knew. He goes, I know you're sick of all the stuff going on in this world and everything else. He's like, you just need to get back with the boys. Let's get the band back together and go. So, I signed on with Garda Federated, and it was an emergency response team in Afghanistan. So it was a special ops contract. You had to be Marine Recon, Navy SEAL, or Army Special Forces, and I was Marine Recon. And the cool thing was the job description. Like, I don't want to just go out there and be doing hits for the government. I would like this one because you actually rescue people. Our job or our description was we go rescue hostages that were kidnapped, or if people were in places that were under siege, we'd help evacuate them. And yes, if there's a threat that came in that was going to be putting people in danger, innocents, then we'd have to go neutralize them. So that was a contract that I took. And, with that, I had to wait. I mean, it's kind of funny. I needed one piece of paper from the government. Because this was, I got out of the Marine Corps back in 1996. And in 1996, I got my DD-214, which is a discharge paper. Well, everything changed over the years. They went electronic and they had different forms. So I needed an updated form. And it's funny because here I am trying to get a form, one piece of paper. It's not it's not a whole bunch. It's one piece of paper. I needed one piece of paper from the government for the government. And that was in June. I tried to retrieve it. I didn't get it till October. So I lost that contract. I had to go back into the queue, wait for it again. And then I wound up getting in a car accident. And I tore my rotator cuff. I hurt my back. And that was it. There was no chance for me to go back into special ops, 46 years old. I wasn't going to heal from it. So I was kind of just looking to recreate myself. I didn't want to go back to working with business consulting. So I said, you know what? Let me check out this crypto thing. And I started trading it. Contacted a friend who was into it. He started guiding me. And I'll never forget, the first coin I bought was Shiba Inu. And that was back before it got listed, before it ran. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I get this a lot when I talk to people who are new to crypto. I don't understand. I was like, well, if you go back to last April, not the one that just passed, the year before, April 2021, I bought my first coin, Shiba Inu. And it took my friend 3 days over the phone to walk me through the processes to be able to set up my accounts, to get the Ethereum I needed, to learn how to swap and do everything. It took 3 days and I don't know how many hours just to buy my first coin. Well, I did make some decent money with it because I did get it way before it listed. And as I started, trading in the crypto markets and I saw a great opportunity, I also saw there was a bunch of nonsense going on. And I was like, there's so many great projects. Some of them they're either a great project or they have a great community. And there's so much that could be done. But what I noticed was there was a lack of experience. There were just people slinging crypto because they could make money with it. But none of them had business experience. Nothing was set up for business. So I thought to myself, if I could come in using my skills, from years, since 1996, the moment I got out of the Marine Corps, I became a stockbroker. I was working as a stockbroker, investment banker, business consultant since 1996. And I'm like, if I used my skills in the crypto markets, and basically all I wanted to do was deliver to the people what everyone says they're going to do. Because everyone launches a crypto coin with promises of what's going to happen, and they all get inflated, nothing ever happens, and then they crash. And it kind of reminded me of back in the days when we had the .com days. And I was a stockbroker then. Everyone was buying everything .com. I'm sure you remember, Frank. .com this, .com that. Mm-hmm. But then you buy something like buyapetrock.com, and people are like, oh my God, it's a .com, it's a tech. And then everyone sat back, and they looked at all the companies they were buying, and they said, what do these companies actually do? And, buyapetrock.com was selling pet rocks. They weren't a tech company. They weren't like a true .com. And you remember, the market crashed. It went back to being a value-driven market. And I kind of thought that's what might happen to crypto. So let me come in and build something with value. Do the value first. Build the foundation and everything else. And once you have that, and people start seeing and they stop buying stuff because Elon tweets his dog's name or any of the other crazy reasons, some influencer does a tweet, everyone's going to buy it. And you're like, well, but why are you buying the coin? Because she tweeted it. Kim Kardashian tweeted it. What does that have to do with the company, though? So that was kind of the reason why I decided to get into crypto and launch my own token. I wanted to bring the people something of value.
No, that's really cool. It's a great story, man, and appreciate your service and everything. And I know you turn your focus to NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I think a lot of people, even on this podcast, are familiar with that term. I bet you a lot of people believe it's only artwork, or it's ownership, right, of your material, and it tracks it where you can make royalties off of it. Something that's, again, I explain this on my podcast, but digital certificates of ownership, and those certificates can apply to anything, not just art and stuff. But this is an industry that you've been in where you educate me, and I'm turning to people who are serious in this industry, especially now because you're seeing all the garbage get weeded out, which is awesome. And you've been active in this market, and I want you to try to explain it, if you can, in the easiest possible way, because sometimes I'll have conversations with you and I got to say, hey, Pete, slow down, buddy. So, because there is a massive, massive audience. I mean, this is a very small market right now that's going to become probably about 100x of the size that it is now. Just to put in perspective, when you talked about the dot-com crash, and I looked this up, and this is going to surprise the hell out of you. Do you know what global internet adoption was in March 2000 during a crash? You know how many people were on the internet globally? It was only 5%. Only 5% of people back then, right? And now you're looking at the NFT market being so small, but it's going to be in a market that you're going to be forced to learn about it. But, you have this incredible talent that, you can weed out a lot of the BS. You introduced me to Adam Russell, who I had on last week, who's telling me about the security behind NFTs, trying to legitimize this industry and weed out the garbage. But let's start from scratch. Like, if somebody wants to purchase an NFT, what's the easiest way to do it? And, I mean, your experience in this is incredible. So I'm hoping you could dial it down, because people are very, very interested in this if they know that they can do it the right way, they can buy stuff they like, and they're not going to get robbed.
So what I'm going to start off by saying, though, is it's not that I'm brilliant and I'm not the smartest guy out there. Everything I'm figuring it out, I've lost a lot of money figuring it out, because just like with the crypto markets, NFT is different than even a token. It's a whole nother world. And what I can tell you is, forget everything you've known about business and what makes sense. And you got to look, it's a totally different approach to it. And really, I didn't start getting into, as much as I started buying NFTs a year ago, I didn't really start understanding them until we were launching the NFT marketplace. And I really had to get in. And how do you do that? You start investing a lot of your own money in, you start losing a lot of your own money, and then you realize, okay, I got to figure this out. And that's kind of like how I do it with the same thing with coming into crypto. So what I could tell you, like with NFTs, first of all, we want to go to the simple part of it. Right now, there's a couple of different marketplaces, and OpenSea is the biggest one. It's the one that kind of houses most of the NFTs. You can probably get any NFT there. So that's just OpenSea.io. And when you go to OpenSea, there's a couple different ways to trade. You have to connect your wallet to it. And that's not like when people are like, oh, well, I trade through a centralized exchange like Coinbase. Now, you can't use Coinbase, but you can't use your centralized exchanges. You might be now. I don't know. Coinbase has launched their own NFT market. It seemed like it was there was a big bunch of marketing behind it. They launched it, and then we heard nothing else after. But like you could see here, up top right, you got the little wallet icon there. So now you need to have your wallet, which is going to be like a decentralized wallet, like MetaMask, Trust Wallet. I like to use Trust Wallet. A lot of the projects you have, if you're going to buy a new project, or what they call minting, when we say mint a project, so before an NFT comes out and it hits the marketplace, you might have to mint it from that company's website. And when you mint it, it just means you're buying the first one. So a lot of those projects, though, you have to use MetaMask on a computer. But I would say if you're going to do that without getting into too much security, there's a lot of hacks that go on. Make sure you do ththings properly. And I think, Frank, that would be another time we could go over security and really tying it down.
And real quick, too, so right now, if you watch us on YouTube, and I know that most of you people listen to iTunes, but I brought up the OpenSeas, and that's why you're saying, hey, connect, they're all on the right-hand side. But I just brought something up, sports trading cards. It says items 26, owners 252, floor price, total volume. Talk about floor price. What floor price? What's 0.01? I want to go down to the basics of this and explain it, because I don't see people, you see some YouTube videos, but not a lot. I just want to get the, go ahead.
So what you're seeing here, though, this is like more of an individual artist that has it. There's only 26 items. If you're buying like a lot of these individual artists or something like this, you're buying it to support an artist. That's going to be more something you're going to buy like a floor price 0.0. So what the floor price means, that's the lowest price one in the collection. But let's do this. Let me have you go up top in the search bar, and I'm going to show you right now my favorite NFT project that I'm in, the heaviest, and I'll explain why in a minute. Killa, Killa, start typing that. And it should open up. You see Killa Bears? Click on Killa Bears.
Okay.
And you're going to laugh. If you knew how much money, I joke now about, because these are investments. And the joke of it is yes, you're talking about the true value behind NFTs. And most people are like, you're buying pictures. So now this is a better one to look at, because a lot of the people that are trading, when you want to make money, you need to buy, I don't want to say you need to, but these are the types of NFTs. This is the same kind of setup like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, like Doodles, like all the big names. And I could have brought one of them, but this is one that I have a passion for. So it's easier to talk about. So right now you could see in this collection of these bears, there's 3,333. So you see the amount of items. Mm-hmm. The floor price is 0.794 Ethereum. What the floor price is, that's the lowest priced bear there right now. So the floor is the absolute lowest price. But if you scroll down a little bit, then you can start seeing. So sometimes the other thing, hit buy now. All right, on the left-hand side up top by status, click that buy now button, because I want to make sure it's only showing that you could buy. Yeah.
Okay. So
now you see the floor is that 7.749. But if you keep scrolling down, the floor goes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going up.
So, so you see that, right? These are the ones, even though the floor is there, right now, telling you for an example, I don't want to tell you which bear, but there's a bear right now. I just got, you have to have liquidity to buy it. I'm trying to get back to some Ethereum, because all my money, this is going to be the funniest thing that I say probably all day to your investors, because they're intelligent investors. My life savings is invested in JPEGs right now. So in order to buy more JPEGs, I need to liquidate some money. So right now, I'm actually, from this collection, you're still at 1.1 ETH. There's a bear right now that I'm looking to acquire that's for sale. It's right now 7 Ethereum. So you're just seeing the floor price. But the thing is, it might be a better value for me to buy this bear because it's more rare at 7 Ethereum. There's other ones in this collection. One of them just sold for $15,000. For 15 Ethereum, so $15,000. So this is just showing you the floor price. Now, this was a free mint. This was one that they launched it for free. Everyone that got on the list was able to get in, and then it slowly starts moving up. I mean, this was free. Now the floor, if you look at it, it's almost $1,000. The floor price. That's great, and it keeps going. But then, so when you were saying, why did I buy that project? You can find some of the best art out there. And yes, I think it's cute, but it's kind of funny. Here I am. Look at me. See this guy? I'm saying, I'm buying these bears. They're cute little bears. But that's not why. I mean, you have to kind of like the art. I do like the art. But before I understood how to make money with NFTs, I was buying great looking art. But you don't make money with it, because I found out the real secret. And now what makes these things move is the community. So forget about
Talk about community. Because community, I mean, now when people say community, okay, you think of a Facebook group or it's small. I mean, some of these communities, whether it's Telegram or Discord, are millions of people that are getting behind these projects and decide and say, hey, this is a great project. Let's get what I'm seeing, even with Bored, it's not like a pump and dump scheme. These are people that are buying these things and collecting them, not looking to resell them right away, where the NFT market has collapsed, but yet over the past month or two, I've had a conversation with you saying, I've made a lot of money in NFTs because you know where the quality is, you know where the groups are, you know which ones are focused, and you know which ones are BS and which are not, right? I mean, it's really have to have the experience in it, I guess.
So, and again, every day I buy new projects that come out because they look like so there's gambles. So there's ones they'll call them blue chips. Anything Bored Apes do, Doodles do, those are the blue chip type companies. Yuga Labs owns Bored Apes. For the long run, they're going to put a lot into it. They're always going to make it work. Every day, there's tons of NFTs popping up. I'm going to give you one quick example. The Goblins right now. Have you heard of the Goblins? Goblin Town?
I've heard of them, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's probably the biggest NFT thing to hit, and they changed they just changed the whole game. It was a free mint. And I went in and I bought 6 of them at 0.05 ETH. 0.05, it was what, $100? 6 of them. So $600 total. I'm sorry, 7, because I remember it was $700 total. They ran up to 10 ETH each within a month. So each $100 I had was over 10 grand.
Yeah,
They're back down. Everything, how everything moves. You watch the market. The chart goes up, it comes down, it corrects, it goes up, it down, corrects. So this was a free mint. Everyone who got in for free. I got in at 0.05. Currently, the floor on that one is still 3 Ethereum. So all my goblins, they're 3 Ethereum. The floor, there's 10,000 of them. So I have ones that rank up like, the top 1,000. And that's the other thing too. When we talk about the floor, if you have one that's ranked, 10,000, that's worth floor. But if you have something ranked in the top 100, even though like some of those right now, I think someone paid $80,000 for one of the goblins in the higher end, even though it's a $3,000 floor, some of the higher ranked ones will go for, some of them being sold for, 100. It just depends. So the point I'm bringing up with this one is I tried that one, but just like this one, I jumped into other ones that are gambles. This one it did great. Other ones I bought in for $100, they're at nothing. And like you said, pump and dump, disappear, because I just thought it was something cool. I have my gambling money and then I have my blue chip money that I'll put in. So what I found, and I'm going to bring, the first community I found, and I had to go to my friends who were big into NFTs to help me. And I know a lot less about some of these guys. So what I do is I cheat. Instead of me doing all the tracking, the charting, and everything else, I've learned which guys in the community I become friendly with, what they're buying. And when someone like these guys get in, all the other people start buying. And when I say community, like for an example, the first community I bought into where I started learning this was the Quirkies. Great project, one of the strongest communities out there. And Quirkies.
So someone want to get into that community and start learning more. I mean, is it Twitter? Is it Discord? Is it Telegram? Do you have to be invited to it? I mean, how could you follow these people?
You can follow them on, I follow Twitter personally. I get lost in Discord. I'm 47. I know the younger generation. When I have to have work done in Discord, my 16-year-old son, he set up my Discord for me and set it up for greed and everything. I get lost. But yeah. So with NFTs, Discord used to be the biggest, but now it's Twitter. Twitter is really like, they still have a Discord to do some more communication, but Twitter is it. What you want to do is I follow them on Twitter. And if you can figure out Discord, unlike me, use Discord. But those are the two where you want to be for NFTs. But, now that Twitter has spaces, they're kind of taking over as the top place. Not Instagram, Facebook is dead. Instagram's kind of dead. Even Discord. So that was the cool thing about the Goblins. They changed the game. No one knew what it was. They didn't tell anyone who they were. They came out. They said, we have no Discord. We got no road. This is the funniest. We have no Discord, no roadmap, nothing. We're just giving you a free mint. They had a brilliant plan, but they acted like they didn't. It's a brilliant group of people, and everyone bought in. So they kind of changed the game and proved you don't need all the other stuff. You just need Twitter. If you're going to do any one thing, it's Twitter. So you could follow them. But the way you get in, like you want to buy one of the NFTs, you're part of it, and then you start becoming part of the community. Like with the Quirkies, I bought the NFTs, and then you start getting added to groups. And every day when you see, if you want to help, that's how you do it. They call it shilling. And I don't know, in crypto, if you buy a coin or you buy an NFT project and you want to help support it, you shill it. You start promoting it. Like I'm sure, Frank, you've seen some of my Twitter. I dress up like the Bears. I post it. Why? It's getting, now they're like, oh my God. And I tried to explain to them, the reason I dress up like the bear and do that is I don't know how to use Photoshop. All the kids out there are doing Photoshop and doing all these images.
That's great.
I was like, guys,
I mean, it is marketing, right? You want to bring attention to something that's pretty cool. But I want to transition into greed and what you're doing. So you start a company, Greed. You have a greed token. And I want to get to two parts of it because I don't want this to go on, too long. And I want to keep it simple for everyone. And one is the music part. The other is your own NFT marketplace. Let's look at your site now. I mean, talk about your NFT marketplace.
Okay. So the reason we started our own NFT marketplace, there was a couple of reasons. When we first started launching, the reason, and I'm going to go backwards though, if that's okay. We launched, and I had to find, I don't want to say like my gimmick, but I had to find, like, if you're going to do a project, you got to find something that works. So my friend that I went to high school with, Ted K, he was a business partner in Epidemic Records with Cool and Dre. They're Grammy Award-winning music producers that have been doing it for over 20 years. They've produced Jay-Z, Beyonce, and actually, Jay-Z is like Dre's one of his best friends. They launched DJ Khaled, and I said, Ted, hook me up with Cool and Dre. I want to talk to them. The original thing I wanted to talk to them about was music NFTs, and this is going back when we started, over a year ago. And I had to find something that would work. I had to find something that was going to make sense. And I thought, you know what? These guys have so much music. So I went to them and said, hey, when you guys produce like a hit song, how many other versions do you have? Cool was like, man, we could have like 10, 20, 30 other versions that we didn't use. I was like, where are they? He's like, oh, we have them stored, in like a little like a storage thing. We have like, you have everything. He goes, not only do we have different versions from the songs that we've produced, he goes, we've got some songs with some of the biggest names in music that never hit it because we were trying to produce them for a record label. The record label didn't go with it. So there's songs, great songs that were sitting there. I said, so the first thing I was looking at was, you guys have been in the music industry for years and they've always been ahead of the industry. So think about it. Back in the day, you had to have a big label. If you didn't have a label, you had nothing, right? Then all of a sudden you got Napster, you got YouTube, you got all these other ways. You got to stay. Now there's Spotify. The trends keep changing. And I said, hey guys, listen, music NFTs, it's going to be, NFTs are big. What about music NFTs for artists? I said, would you be willing to take all those songs? Because think about this, Frank. Who's your favorite recording artist?
I'm a big fan. All the old school rappers. You have Busta Rhymes here, Cool and Dre. In case you don't know, guys, award-winning artists. All the old school rap. Big Daddy Kane, I'm a big fan of. NWA.
Just give me one. It doesn't have to be. It could be any.
I'm a big fan of Google Dolls. Big fan. Actually, we're going to a concert in a couple days for, I think it's Poison and Motley Crue and Def Leppard. So there you go.
All right. Look, now think about this. Let's say, for example, like you had Poison, right? And Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And it's out there. They got that hit song. What if there were 20 alternate versions that you could make an NFT out of with the music and an image that no one else has had and no one else has ever heard? There's 20 versions and you could buy one of them that no one else had as a fan. So you're a collector now. Like that could go for how much money? You own that different version. You own the rights to it. You own everything. And that's what I went to them and said, guys, what if we were to start now? It's a way for think about it. For Poison, yeah, Bret Michaels is out there singing, but a lot of these older bands, like it's a way for them to generate more money and get them back in touch with their fans. So
it's huge. You're a fan of a music group. You have to. Even like we're going to see Def Leppard. It's my wife's a huge fan. Especially Motley Crue. When you see those people, they're diehards. It's like going to Rolling Stones concert. They dress up leather. You see these 56-year-olds. They're diehards. There's a massive market for things like this. So just memorabilia, and it makes a lot of sense, even for athletes and going on. And that it's a big part of the NFT market. Yeah, I get it. That's awesome. But now with music royalties, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So when Cool looked, like when I talked about doing all the old stuff, he looked at me, he goes, yeah, but he goes, you know what? We want to do that. He goes, but we've been looking at, I already launched my other one, Baby Dojinu, which is part of the Greed ecosystem. That was my learn into it. And I'm building utility around it. He goes, we saw what you did with the coin. You built up the community. He's like, man, we think we should launch a whole crypto music label. And I thought they were going to be like, Epidemic. And when he goes, nah, man, we love Greed. We love the way the logo. We love the way you did it. And I'm going to real quick, I do the whole Greed is Good by Gordon Gekko and all that. But I just want to really cover why we called it Greed. Because some people go, the name, it throws people back. The reason I called it Greed was we joking around. But when I told my buddy I was going to launch a token, I was like, I'm going to launch, I should launch maybe like a charity token. Because I do a lot of charitable work with my children's books and other stuff that I have. He's like, you know what? Cut it out. All these charity tokens that are launching, they're scams. They come out and say they're a charity token. They get the people to believe they're doing charities. The only charity that's going to the owner's pockets. He's like, just call it Greed. Let's just call it what it is. People are buying crypto to make money, and that's it. So my point of calling it Greed was joking around and saying, guys, listen, it's okay to want to buy crypto to make money for yourself, because that's the truth. If there's 3 tokens out there, if there's something with great utility, there's a charity token, or this one that's just going to make you money, everyone's going to buy the one that makes them money. Mm-hmm. So it's fine. My point is, it's okay to want to make money for yourself, because once you make money for yourself, you can donate to whatever you want. So the joke is, by calling it Greed, it allows us to start off our relationship telling the truth, that we all are here for this. Like, instead of you can't build a real relationship on lies. So we just called it Greed token. I just wanted to clear that up, because people are like, why Greed? It's such a bad name. It's not. It's a good thing. And it drives everything. Everything we do is driven by greed. So then, so with that, we now have the music label. Oh, and by the way, we are launching our first song under the music label, which is going to be Cool and Dre. It's a Magic Hour. It's going to be Cool and Dre featuring Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes. But we're doing something different. And the reason I went into this whole story was OpenSea's the big marketplace, right? But we couldn't launch on there the way we needed to launch. So I said, you know what, let's build our own marketplace, more of a boutique marketplace. OpenSea doesn't offer any different technologies or help with contracts. So we built this marketplace so that we could help other recording artists. So if you go to OpenSea and you don't have your own contract, you have to go pay thousands of dollars to have someone create your smart contract to launch your NFTs, or you use theirs. You launch through OpenSea, it's their contract, not yours. They actually own it. So they could take your stuff down. They control you. At the end of the day, it's their control, not yours.
So I want to say that I want to move on because we got about 3 minutes left, and I wanted to get into the metaverse part, because when we look at the metaverse, a trend that you're very familiar with, you were early to buy land in Decentraland, and then you went to TCG, and now you're a partner of them. Talk about your relationship with them, because people don't know this. A lot of you have come into our private placement, which is still open, where we made the largest virtual real estate person in history at $5 million, which got blown away a few weeks later, which is good because that blown away version was in TCG as well. Over, I think it was $102 million for virtual land purchase. But I was introduced through you, right? So I met one of your workers at a conference, Alex, and then introduced, and you helped me, with this deal with them in terms of commercial real estate, exactly what we wanted. So, you're basically the person, so anyone's invested in it is because of you, right? So I just want everyone to know that, which is amazing. So I thank you for that, for the deal that we got into. But talk about TCG and why. Why you like, go ahead.
If it goes bad, Frank, it's on you, not me, though. When it goes good, I can take it.
Yeah, I know. If things don't work out, man. Yeah.
I'm all in on TCG myself. I bought Decentraland first. I bought Decentraland first, and I'm actually going to build on Decentraland to market to TCG, because I believe in TCG. After I saw what TCG World was doing as a metaverse, that was it. I was sold. And again, it's more than just a project. When I met the owner, David, I deal directly with, David from TCG World. The reason we started off is, I had the big names. And when they were starting to build as a metaverse, they needed to bring big names to attract people. So we came in, we brought Ken Shamrock and his Valor coin, brought Ja Rule over there. Like, I talked to celebrities from all this. I'm like, hey, you should come to TCG. And it's, helping them bring people in to build it up. So as we started doing that, I built a good relationship with them. I think I bring it in when we go to that, the event, the Metaverse Expo.
Next
I think
week,
25% of the people who are going to be there were from intros over here. But just a real quick, too, why I wanted to use the metaverse, and I thought it was important. As I got into the music part of it, back in, over a year ago, I was talking about the metaverse way before Meta, way before anything, because what I thought would be cool, and that's why I said I wanted to build not just a coin, I wanted to build a whole ecosystem. So Cool and Dre have their recording studio in North Miami. It's not just for who they produce. I mean, they that's their money. That's their bread and butter. People come from all over the world, huge recording artists. I mean, it's North Miami. You're going to go to a couple places, and it's a great studio. And I thought, how cool would it be? And the reason I thought about this was, some of you might have had the same experience. Like, you hear like a certain recording artist. And I'm gonna bring one up, and not to talk bad about him. When I first saw Post Malone, I judged him. I heard one of his songs. I'm like, what is this? Then I started looking at him as a recording artist and understanding more. I think I saw a show on him. I'm like, wow, this guy's brilliant. And that's the thing. I realized
he is brilliant.
Just like wine. I never liked wine. I went to Napa. Now I've been to Napa 6 times, Sonoma, and I'm like a wine connoisseur because I got to appreciate it. So I thought, you know what? To me, the metaverse could do the same thing. What I want to do is live stream our recording artists from the recording studio to the metaverse for a couple reasons. I mean, if they're recording artists who are now like the older guys, they get to touch back with their fan base. They could stay in tune. They could see what's happening. And like if you see these recording artists in the studio and seeing how they work, it's going to give you an appreciation for them. So it works both ways. The other thing is like some of our younger guys coming up. Now, remember, NFTs are an investment. This isn't all about the art or buying the thing. It's an investment. So if we have a no name, and you've seen some of my guys, Matt Corman, he's going to be performing at the Metaverse Expo. I think the kid's going to be a superstar. I want to bring him out. And no one might have heard of him. But when I'm watching the kid on YouTube, I'm like, he's my playlist. I don't listen to anything now. I listen to him. So we get him in the recording studio. People start seeing him. It's another way for a young kid who's trying to make money coming up. So he goes in the recording studio. Let's say he's there. You're watching him. He's live streaming his feed. You get to appreciate his music. Now you know when he launches, I want to have part of that. Or a way for him to supplement his income and have you get something special. Let's say he goes in and he works on 10 versions of a song, but he's not going to use any of them. Same thing. He could chop up those 10 versions, maybe sell them as an NFT for a one of one, a couple $100 each. It's going to help the kid pay for his recording studio. It's going to help him, get by and pay bills. These younger guys are big, but I mean, imagine getting like, I don't even know. Talk about Jay-Z. Imagine getting Jay-Z before anyone even heard of him, and you have his stuff that he was doing in the recording studio, and you own that one-on-one, and now he's a superstar. What's that worth?
Yeah.
So it allows people, I'm gonna say, it allows you to educate and guess gamble on your investments. Like, people might go through and be like, I'm going to buy, like I do with these other NFTs that come up. I see them, they're cheap. I buy a couple of them, boom. They either go or they don't. Same thing with that. It gives you the ability. So that's why I went into the metaverse. And then Decentraland, though, you buy property. It's kind of 2D. I did it because it was the blue chip. When I saw what TCG World was doing, I went all in. I mean, you've seen it. You went in big, but look at the size of the property we have. Why? Because I'm going to say the main reason is because of the owner, David. He didn't care about money. He's more concerned with the project. And I said something one time, like, I was like, we're greed. We're going to bring in the slum. We want to bring in a strip club. We're going to do OnlyFans. He's like, whoa. No, man. I want to leave this to the kids. Listen, I mean, money's money, business is business. If I could help do OnlyFans and bring it in, I'm a businessman. But I really appreciate the fact that he was like, nope, not that. I want this for my kids. And he doesn't care about money. He puts the project first. The other thing that's interesting is he's helping all of his people develop their projects because he doesn't want people just to buy land in TCG and have it sit there. He wants them to develop it so that when people come from the outside in, they don't just come in, walk around for 5 minutes and be bored. They're like, oh my God, I want to see this. I want to go there. I want to go there. So they're also helping, like he's helping me develop. He's helping give me utility there. So it's a 4K metaverse, unlike these other ones. It's a high definition 4K metaverse, and the whole thing is gamified, which is amazing. It's totally different. Like, not to talk bad, but like, in Decentraland or Sandbox, you could buy a car, but you can't drive it.
That weird.
TCG, you could buy a car. You could drive it. I could drive it from my place to your place. They have dragons, like real dragons that fly. You could jump on the dragon and fly the dragon.
Yeah.
And then all throughout, even on our property, they incentivize it for people to come in. They have little creatures and NFTs walking around, even in my area, so people could come over and be like, what's this greed? It doesn't even matter. If they're playing the TCG, which is, remember, TCG stands for trading card game. So they could be walking around Greed's property and find, like, they're going to have a special dragon that if you catch it, you could get $50,000. What if you find that on Greed? So they're going to have this all throughout. They're going to have it on your property, on my property. So they're doing more than any other person to incentivize the builds and keep it engaging because they want people not just like, go check it out, guys. Go.
It's got to be entertainment. It's got to be fun. And that's what's going to draw the attention of more and more people, and which is awesome. So, all right. So 1 minute left here, Pete, and we covered a lot. So this is the most important thing by far. I'm looking at a picture here where you're in front of this Jeep. You got these shorts on, this nice helmet on, and you're shooting. I don't even know what kind of gun it is, but it looks like a freaking massive. I don't even know. What is that you're shooting?
It's my flamethrower. That's the beginning of the flamethrower shot.
Okay, hold that thought. So that's, if you're going to see YouTube, you're going to see you, right, with your muscles flared and everything. And yet, on your bio, it says that you're an award-winning children's book author. Please explain.
I wrote, go back to the early 2000s, and I was a stockbroker at the time, and I don't know, but I was also crazy. Like, I went and I had a kinkajou as a pet, because I turned my guest room into a rainforest. I had a kinkajou, I had a sloth. I was a young kid with too much money. I didn't know what to do, so I did dumb things. But one morning, I woke up getting ready to go to work. I was like possessed, and I sat there, and I don't write. I don't even like to read. Sorry, I don't like to read. I like someone to tell me. I can't do IKEA. I can't follow directions. But I woke up and I had this like feeling, and I got possessed. And I wrote this story, and it came out as is. It barely changed, and it was Peeper the Kinkajou. It was based on my kinkajou. And the cool thing is, it was something that turned into a multi-award-winning book. I got a Disney Parenting Award, which is Disney's iParenting Media Award, and I was the editor's hot pick because they give a couple of them a year, but Peeper the Kinkajou was the editor's hot pick. So I wrote a series. I only published, I think, the first one. The second one was going to come out with which I'm going to now turn this stuff into NFTs. I will get there. And then I wrote another one. I had a lavender skunk, Boomer to the Rescue, it also got a Mom's Choice Award. And that's like a younger one. It's like a pre-K kindergarten book, and it's about bullying. I think they're cute. Wait until we do the NFTs. But yeah, it just happened. I didn't mean to do it. It was just...
That's cool, man. And sometimes the best projects.
Like everyone thought I was crazy. One day I went fishing in the Keys. I was a stockbroker. I went fishing in the Keys one day. I came back. I told my wife at the time, I said, let's go move to the Keys. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to leave. I don't want to be a broker anymore. I've always done what I wanted to do. She's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to be an author. That's it. Everyone thought I was nuts. Like, dude, this guy lost his mind. I went to the Keys, became a multi-award-winning children's book author. I was touring the country, doing presentations. So yeah, it's just...
That's great stuff. So Pete, we covered so much. I know I'm going to get lots of questions. If people have questions, they want to find you, how can they do that? If you want to give your Twitter handle, I know it's Greed. You go on, look out on it. But, how can they get in touch with you if they have some questions, especially about NFTs, music royalties, and things?
Yeah, because I'm not the best social media guy. I'm the older guy. I'm not right now, I see most of my stuff on Twitter. Like, catch me. The best way to catch me is going to be on Twitter. That one. I don't know if you have the link to give them for it, but yeah, best way to catch me is there. I don't really, people have to tell me when to go into Telegram or other areas, but Twitter is definitely the best place to catch me.
So Twitter, and what's your handle? Is it Captain Awesome? Is that it?
It's at CAPT awesome _ DEV dev.
Okay,
CAPT,
so if they want to follow you.
And or if they go through and hit Greed, like it's better because someone will get to me. Like mine, I don't always see if I'm not following each other. It's tough to see. But if they hit the Greed one, and it's Greed Ecosystem is the Twitter for that, they can one of the people from our community will get to me and let me know.
You can find a lot of this too on greedtoken.com at your website. But Pete, listen. Thanks so much, man. I know you're explaining something. You dial it down to an audience that's learning. That's what we do here. We want to educate people, dial it down, because as you can see, people like to speculate with their money. And when I'm looking at crypto and it looks speculation, when you come to the markets, it's almost impossible to get 10x, 5x winners in the markets where they're coming out these crazy valuations. That's why you're seeing the market come down so much right now. And crypto too. But if you're going to speculate, right, and you're down 50, 60% on some of these, 70, 80% on IPOs that came out that you invested in, once it started trading publicly at these crazy valuations, whether it's Coinbase, Robinhood, or whatever, getting into some of these things, the reward could be astronomical and life-changing. And you're seeing it grow. And I don't know if you know this, but over $1 billion in May flew into NFT and Web3 products. In May. Think about the market, right? I mean, we don't know what the statistics for June. I know that I think it was Magic Labs is called, NFT platform, just got a $100 million plus investment. The valuation is like 1.6 billion. There's tons of money flowing into this. The big money is flowing into this because this is going to be the future. And I appreciate you coming on and explaining this in detail to my audience, man.
Frank, like that was the thing about the Shiba. You're talking about moves. I put 15,000 into Shiba, my first trade. And that went up to 1.2 million. That 15,000 right there. At the same time, my son, and again, my wallet got hacked. That's why we need to do a security, how to keep stuff secure later and what to trust, not trust. But same with my son, 15 years old. He put he gave me $50 from working. He said, can I have $50 in Shiba? Transferred to his wallet. That $50 in a month went to $8,500 for the kid.
Wow.
$50. I mean, yeah. $50 for a 15-year-old. I mean, crap. If 50 went to 150, then he got mad because I told him to put his other half in safe money. He goes, "Why did you tell me to put it all here?" I'm like, Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of real investing and stuff. So, great stuff, Pete. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at the conference. TGC sponsoring Meta Expo. So I'll see you in Vegas in a few days, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Take care.
Take care. Have a good one, guys.
I mean, great stuff from Pete. Could see how honest he is, hardworking, passionate, no BS, and I think that's why we get along so well. Maybe it's the New Yorker in me, but we just, if we don't like you, we don't talk to you, right? And we say it how it is. And I think so many people listen to the podcast and they always say, "Well, you say it how it is." I'm telling the truth. And I feel like in today's world, when you tell the truth, you get in trouble. But that's me, and I'm not changing. Neither is Pete. So, we hit it off right away, and he's a brilliant guy. I love the passion. And that story I told you about, we wouldn't have been in this deal without him. We wouldn't have the deal without him, right? And I went to a conference and met one of his employees, and I was talking. Someone wanted me to explain this, security token, how we did it, and how incredible it was, and how we were able to do this, and it's original. And when I started talking to him, he's the one that talked about TCG World. And I started looking into it. And then, in the contract negotiations and what kind of real estate we wanted, it was Pete that helped out a lot with that in terms of saying, hey, you want commercial real estate because this is an investment. You're going to be able to rent it out. You're going to be able to lease this stuff. He's like, then just buying individual parcels. There's different ways that we were going to do it. But it was a commercial real estate angle. And he was a big part of that, right? So you only gain access if you put yourself out there. And if you're young, you got to put yourself out there. You got to go to conferences. You got to meet people. You got to talk to people. And I don't care if they're an asshole, because there's always something you could take from that person. And I hear that all the time because I know so many people. And when you go to Wall Street in my part of the world, there's a lot of arrogant people in there that people don't like. But these people are brilliant. And they're brilliant in certain areas. And sometimes you just have to check that ego at the door and just be like, okay, let this guy talk about himself forever and ever and ever. Yeah, I see that a lot in Wall Street. But for me, you got to get out there because, I had no idea. I went to a conference to talk about a security token, which is an investment conference for our industry in financial newsletter publishing. And here I am meeting someone that has a Metaverse project that introduced me to someone, got in touch with Pete. Now, look what happened. We just signed the biggest deal in Metaverse history. In terms of virtual real estate. Again, that record was broken, as I mentioned. But that's how all this stuff happens, right? It's by networking and knowing people. I got to tell you something, too, is with the crypto market crashing, you're seeing all the bullshit get wiped out. And it's kind of like what we saw during the dot-com bubble, right, where a lot of the garbage got wiped out. And now I'm getting introduced to real projects where they don't want to deal with any BS. They want to deal with real people with credibility. And just the meetings that have taken place, especially over the past month or two, and the access that we're getting right now is incredible because we have a platform of people that are interested. We have a history of being in this world where people could trust us, where they're like, oh, this isn't some Wall Street asshole just saying, oh, I want to get into this and buy this crap. No, this guy created a security token, one of the first ever. Wow, this guy just made the largest virtual real estate purchase. Bring it all together while we keep our core publishing industry and getting access to more and more and more people through this world. But the contacts and the people that I'm meeting right now, it's kind of like meeting the Carl Icahns, the Ackmans of the industry. I mean, this is who we're gaining access to. I spent a lot of time to do that across my career. It took a long time to do within the mining industry, thanks to guys like Maren Katusa, Rick Rule, Jeff Phillips. I mean, there's a big difference between getting in the inside in that industry and getting into deals earlier than the bullshit and all the garbage, which a lot of people get into just by going to the conferences. And they're like, wow, I can get into a private placement $1. And they're like, Frank, you want to get in? I'm like, I'm in at 15 cents. Okay, so there's a big difference with having that access, and you can't fake it. You got to go in there. People got to trust you. You got to be honest. You got to be yourself because they're going to figure it out right away. These are real people. But the access that we're gaining in this market is incredible, and the projects that we're seeing are absolutely incredible. And that's the best time to invest because you're seeing a crash in the market, and the market's coming down tremendously. And now, even the good projects, and a lot of these tokens are getting nailed, but even the good projects and people with access to, you could get involved in these companies. And that's what you're going to see out of crypto intelligence, which again, just like every other crypto news that everybody out there has been getting murdered. A lot of this stuff has come down. It's total deleveraging. Everything, even the good names are coming down. We have no shit in that portfolio, but even the good names are getting hit. Just like you're seeing in the markets when everything deleverages. But the access we're going to have in terms of getting into stuff very, very early, private placements, new projects. I'm talking about people who are working with Elon Musk. And you know me, listening a long time, I don't bullshit. It's just on the inside of this world, it's very hard to get in on the inside. And we're right there, which is going to be fantastic because we have a great audience. They know it. We have a podcast thanks to you guys. I still can't believe you guys listened to me for this long, which is insane. But hey, you know what? We do it and we want to make money together. This is how we do it. So just the contacts I've been building in this industry have been incredible. And Pete's one of those, and he's introduced me to so many people. And now, look, we're going to a conference next week. If anyone's interested, we have, just go to our website. It's, we got half off, 50% off. It's the best we could do. I think it's $99 to go to the Expo, which is in Vegas. And that's going to be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week. So I think it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And we're going to be a keynote speaker there. But now we're going to be introduced to so many great people within that conference because it is a Metaverse Expo. The guys from TCG are obviously going to be there hosting it. There's going to be other people from Metaverses there, but just the real people. We're going to know all these people. We're going to get them all on video. We're going to have just great stuff to really educate everyone out there on the Metaverse, on NFTs, from the people who matter. And that's important, right? It's not bullshit where you got, buying this ape that, craps a banana. And if you have enough bananas, they create a baby ape and none of that, right? And none of that bullshit. This is like real projects, real people, real NFTs. And we're going to have access. I think there's going to be about 5,000 people there. Again, we're going to be a keynote speaker, a nice booth on the floor. And we are going to set up as a studio where we're going to interview just about every single speaker. Not every single speaker, but the ones who are most influential, which thanks to David at TCG and their partner with us and shareholders now that we did that deal, we get introduced to everybody. Everybody they know we're going to get introduced to. And same with them. If they got someone say, hey, this guy's really cool, Frank, get him on the podcast or whatever it is, and that leads to new ideas. It all comes with networking, and a lot of that cannot happen without you and the audience that we have for Curzio Research and for Wall Street Unplugged. So I just want to say thanks, appreciate it. And again, I'm going to bring you some really, really good stuff very, very early in this field. And you're going to get it in at very cheap prices due to the market absolutely collapsing and even the good projects collapsing. So I want to thank Pete for coming on. Really great stuff. I say this all the time, podcast about you, not about me. So email me what you thought of that interview. Was it too much NFT? Was it too much crypto? Again, we're getting more into crypto and building it and as well as stocks, talk about the market. But again, it's about you, not about me. Let me know what you thought. Frank at CurzioResearch.com. That's Frank at CurzioResearch.com. And that's it for me. I'll see you on the other side of the week. So have a great, great weekend. And any questions or comments, guys, remember, I'm always here for you. FrankCurzioResearch.com. I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Take care.